it's likely that another civilization has come about somewhere in the galaxy, and could transmit radio signals, for example, like we do with our televisions or satellites, or traverse the whole galaxy. Like 10 billion years is a really long time, and 100 billion stars is a really big number. So the question is, why don't we see, where are the aliens? Why have we not detected these other signals? And I don't think it's for a lack of looking, because a lot of effort is put into like SETI, so search for extraterrestrial intelligence. I don't know. There's a couple sort of depressing possibilities as to why we don't see any aliens, and one is that an intelligent civilization becomes unstable and is likely to destroy itself. I don't particularly like that. Another is maybe it's just really rare. Maybe so the two possibilities are life has evolved to intelligence in the past, but it hasn't either lived as long to where we are now to be visible, or either decided not to be visible. Maybe they just don't want to communicate, or maybe we are the first. I don't know. Both possibilities are equally crazy.
I have a quick question about rocky exoplanets. Do they think that they're composed of the same silicate-based rocks as the Earth, and maybe it has the same type of iron core?
Yeah, so one of the diagrams that you had showed earlier was sort of that mass and radius, and there were sort of lines drawn on it for like, if you built a planet out of this composition, so out of Earth-like material, you would have a line that goes like this, and there are a bunch of planets that sort of seem to follow that trend. There are others that are sort of less dense for their mass, that sort of follow a line as if they were composed with a large fraction of water. So these are the ones that you sometimes hear are called like water worlds. And then there are even others that are anomalously dense, that are much more massive than should be allowed for their radius if it were just sort of Earth-like, which sort of means maybe it's got a much higher iron abundance, and maybe it's just a giant ball of iron or something like that. So there are lots of crazy planets out there, and the goal is to try to measure as many of them as we can and sort of see what trends pop out.
All other subjects are not even a close second. Science is by far their favorite subject. I teach or taught 5th grade. But I've also noticed that round about 7th or 8th grade, science does the Thelma and Louise and drives off a cliff.
As a 7th and 8th grade science teacher, screw you. No, we're friends.
So what's the, why do you think, first of all, did any of you feel this when you were growing up? And why do you think that might be the case? That it seems to lose popularity.
Does mass like anything?
So to be honest, I'm not from the US, I grew up in the Netherlands. We didn't really have any science classes in primary school.
Really?
From what our teacher could do herself or himself. It was not such a big, I don't remember doing very much at
It's
all.
just hard. That's why they don't like it. Just really hard. That's it.
I think one of the biggest things is sort of taking away the why is science interesting from the sort of school experience, and replacing that with, here's a bunch of facts about, the Earth's crust and its mantle and stuff, and now you need to know like X, Y, Z, and then repeat this on the test and get a good grade and move on. And it sort of becomes less interesting and more of just trying to, memorize things or just sort of know lots of different things, instead of thinking more about, why is, the world the way that it is, and sort of exploring that curiosity more than just sort of a fire hose of information, and then asking people to repeat that information.
Again, I didn't grow up under the US education system, but I think this is a very curriculum specific and also teacher specific problem. You know, like what Ryan was saying, you're transitioning from a phase of, you know, like, why does this happen? Why does that happen too? You need to know this for this exam and that for that exam. What kind of teacher you have, you know, highly influences your pursuit of science in the future, and especially me being a woman in physics, how it impacts, you know, girls and how to get them continuing staying in science and not, you know, putting them off science because they don't have enough role models, they didn't have a good enough teacher that really like instilled a sense of interest in. So it really, there are a lot of factors in play. One is the curriculum, the education system, and also like how good of a science teacher are you actually? So, how about all the way in the back? Yeah, we haven't heard from you yet.
Okay, my question is about information being lost in black holes. There's a debate about that. Why is it such a big deal?
Yeah, so why is information loss in black holes such a big deal? Well, I don't think there's a distinction in that case, and I don't know if the problem with black hole information has to do with the fact, like, I guess you could conceive that somehow it's contained